Hi ladies, some of you asked about learning how to crochet, so I thought I would try to give you some pointers and start teaching you maybe how to do it. I don't know if I'm a good teacher, we're going to try. Okay, first, let's start with hooks, because you're going to need one no matter what you do. So, I recommend to start an H hook. It's a pretty regular hook, honestly, and don't tell anybody this, it's a big secret. I generally use H all the time. Even if a pattern calls for a C or a J or an I or whatever, this is my hook, period. My hook. And it was the hook that was given to me, and like when I first started and was taught, they gave me an H and I stuck with it, and it's just always been my hook. If you want to go a little bigger, this is a J. I guess you can see that. And here, I'll show you. So this is H, and this is J. So it's just a little bit bigger. It's a little bit beefier feeling in the hands. But once you start crocheting, you'll find that this will rub, and it starts to get annoying. Enter the ergonomic handle. I don't really like this one, actually. It feels a little bulky to me, but I usually have one that has a little bamboo handle that just fits in my hand. So again, I recommend an H. You can start with a plain hook, but if you're going to stick with it, you probably end up with one of these. Yarn. I know a lot of people said they didn't know anything about it and they wanted some info. So, here's my 2 cents. Hold on. When you first go buy yarn, you want to buy this. Let's see if it says it. Oh, right here. Worsted weight. This is basically your generic $3 skein of yarn at Walmart. I also recommend a color similar to this, like a blue or a green. This light's awful. Something pale, like a beige. Don't do white. White is going to be hard to see your stitches. Don't do black. Don't do the variegated colors. And don't do anything fancy with yarn. I'll show you what I mean. Don't go buy something like this. It's like shiny and it's very thin. See if it says what it is. I don't even know. And don't do something like this, like a big, bulky, like scarfy yarn. Yes, this is really awesome, and you can use easy stitches to make like a scarf out of something like this, but to see your stitches when you're first learning is going to be very difficult. And I'll show you what I mean by that. When you look at that, it's hard to see definition. Even when I'm looking here at it, yes, you can see it, but when you're learning, it's hard. So I recommend something in the lighter tone that you'll be able to actually see what you're doing. You'll see your stitches. You'll be able to differentiate what you're doing. So I want to show you something. This blanket, this hat. It's like my favorite hat, by the way. It's totally chill. And this are all the same stitch. It's one stitch. Actually, maybe two. Two. So once you learn the basic, maybe 5 stitches, you'll pretty much be able to do anything. And if you come to a project you're trying to do and you don't know what a stitch is, you can always ask me. You could look up a tutorial on YouTube, and we'll figure it out. So, I'm not sure that there's anything else I need to tell you. Oh, if you do decide that you want to use the big bulky yarn, this stuff, or if you want to venture into the multiple thread stuff, that's when you would get the really big plastic hooks. Because I know if you're new to the project and you're going to go out and try to buy stuff, you might be tempted to buy like the really big fat pencil shape like sized hook. It's like a pea. I have one. But don't buy that for a beginner project. It'll be so hard to hold in your hand and to be learning how to hold thread and whatnot with. So, with that being said, I'm going to teach you how to hold yarn quick. Oh, there are 3 other things you need to have around when you're crocheting. So you have a hook, you have a ball of yarn, scissors, and a pot. So the reason for the pot, now when you first get yarn, it's like this, in a skein. And that's all well and good, as long as you never move it. If you put it down and have to pick it up and put it away every time, it's miserable. So you end up raveling it into a ball. Because skeins, see if I can find the end. This is this beginning string here. Can't make it any better. Alright. So this string here is the beginning of the thread pull. And it pulls from the inside and thins outward. When you do that, the whole skein will collapse. It'll get soft and it will tangle and you'll get knots and you'll end up having to cut your string and knot it back together and it becomes a terrible nightmare. So if you have somewhere that you can, I've seen people put these inside of like Tupperware containers with a hole in the side so that it stays tight. I don't have space for all that. So I roll mine into a ball. Then I get a pot from the kitchen, put the ball in it. So now when I'm pulling string to crochet, the ball rolls around in the pot. It doesn't roll across the room on me, and I can put my stuff in the pot, and there you go. Just means you have to do more dishes because you run out of pots in the kitchen. Okay, so you have string, yarn. When you crochet, first, well, you have to start with making a slip knot. The best way to do that is to loop it around your fingers, like you're gonna push this piece of string all the way through, like to tie a knot, and pull your fingers out. Knot. You don't need to know that yet, we'll talk about it later, but I need something to hold on to show you how to hold the yarn. There are a couple different ways. My husband does this, and he wraps it around his hand so he doesn't have to hold it. It's weird, he crochets. My husband crochets. Anyway, so you can hold your string here, and this is called tension. It's so that your string isn't just floppy and you're pulling too much. It allows you to hold your string so you can aim better, I guess would be a way to look at it. Check out my fish chilling up in the corner over here. Okay, so I hold it with my pinky and over my pointer finger. So I just kind of it's just kind of like that, just kind of hanging out. But you'll see, like, I go like this to hook my yarn, so that's why you need that tension there. Like I said, my husband just wraps it around his hand, and then you just don't have to hold it, you can just pull, but it keeps tension here on your thread. So I guess that's all I'll bug you with today. If you have questions, you can comment them here. You can comment them on the thread that I'm going to post the video in. And in my next chapter, I will try to answer them for you. So everybody go buy a hook, H, size H, if I can see it again there. And worsted weight plain Jane pukey color, like a sagey green, lavender, tan, light blue. Nothing bright and nothing variegated, like different colors. Because if you're trying to count and follow your stitches and they go from pink to yellow, it might confuse you. So something plain. So go get a hook, get string, yarn, and I will do another installment starting out how to do a chain, because everything builds off of a chain. So we'll do chains and maybe singles next time. Ooh, stay tuned.